Welcome to Minecraft Landscaping Fast with me, Coop Dizzle, where I share with you some quick and easy landscaping tips to help you make your world look gorgeous. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at how to use flora and fauna to add contrast to your part of the world. Enjoy! So to start things off, the biggest and most easy and useful tip is to simply bone meal. Use bone meal to kind of dirty things up a little bit. As you can see, this area I had to repair after a creeper explosion, and so I never re-bone mealed it, and it's just looking a little bit too clean. So by adding some bone meal here and there, we're going to dirty it up just a little bit. Now, as a tip with bone meal, there's usually going to be a lot of flowers, probably a lot more flowers than you're going to want, and there's also probably going to be a lot more tall grass than you want. So once you bone meal, go ahead and go through and just knock out a little bit here and there to kind of make it so it's not too overgrown. Now, how overgrown it is will depend on how you want it to look. For me, I want my area to look a little bit overgrown, but I don't want it to be, I don't want it to be to where you can't see the floor at all. So it's going to depend on what you like and what you want. For me, this is just about perfect. The next thing we're going to talk about is using bushes and adding bushes. So bushes are going to be leaf blocks like these that you use but on the ground level to, just add some bushes to your environment. Now what I'd recommend, there are several, I think there are 6 different tree types in the game now. Each one has a different leaf block. And so just look through them, pick one that you like, and pick one that is different for sure from your trees. So here I'm using 2 different kinds of leaves for my trees. I'm using the oak wood leaves that grow with the tall oak trees, and I'm also using some jungle leaves to kind of break up the texture a little bit. And they're both very similar colors. So for my situation, I'm going to be using spruce leaves as the bush type. This is because it's a lot darker than these 2 leaf blocks, and it's going to contrast really well. There are a couple of different ways to go about adding bushes to your world. So the first one, and probably the easiest one, is just to add them on the ground level. Now I'm going to add them sort of in between trees here. So for example, I'm just going to start placing some blocks down around here. And let's see. You really just go at it kind of randomly. Let's go ahead and, no, we'll keep that one. Maybe we'll add another one here. And then we're going to add a little bit on the top layer as well. Maybe not as big as the bottom one, but there you go. It's really easy, very easy. And you just kind of, again, go with the flow and just kind of see, maybe that doesn't look as good as I thought it would right there. So yeah, we'll just do that. And I'm going to do that in a few random places here, just kind of in between the trees. And let's see, can I get one on top of that carpet? That's cool. Actually, I think what I'll do here is something like this, maybe. And one of the things I was going to mention, actually, that kind of did it for me, but you can use bushes to sort of hide the lighting. If your graphics are turned to fast instead of fancy, then you wouldn't even be able to see that jack-o'-lantern because it would be hidden. But you can also do something like this if you want to hide some lighting. Just dig down a block, add your jack-o'-lantern, and then add your leaf blocks on top of that like so, and you'll still get some light, but you won't be able to see that jack-o'-lantern. If you want some extra detail for your bushes, you can also add some logs underneath where your bushes are going to go. So I'm going to use spruce wood logs here just because it's a darker color and there's so much green, and it's a relatively vivid green color that I'm trying to use darker colors to add some contrast to the world. So there you go, that does a really nice job, and now it looks like our bushes have root systems. So I'm going to add, I think, a couple of more. I really try and get some random shapes whenever I do the bushes, just because I think that that looks best. You want it to look not too, I don't know how you would say that, but you just want it to look kind of random, I guess is the best way to put that. So there we go, I think that does a really nice job right there. And finally, on the topic of bushes, one thing I would recommend is going through your hills, and where your hills are really steep, like this one is, rather than putting the bushes on top of the hill, go ahead and just take out some of the blocks that you have, and add bushes in there instead. So something like this. I don't have any dirt blocks on me, my inventory's full, but normally I would replace those with dirt blocks just to make sure that the stone wasn't easily visible. Like that would be really bad, for example, and I'll go through and fix that later for sure. I'll go ahead and add a little bit on top there as well. And then you can even do something like this. Maybe make it kind of flow down over the hills like so. Again, that's not the best example right there. Probably what we're going to do here is go ahead and lower that jack-o'-lantern down like so, and then add a bush there instead. Maybe add one more bush right there. There we go. So now it's kind of sprawling out over the hilltop there, and that's kind of a large bush, but hopefully you get the idea. By dotting these around your landscape a little bit, you can give a really lush look to things very quickly and easily. So maybe something like this. There we go. And already our landscape is changing pretty substantially, pretty dramatically, and in a good way, I think. Next, we're going to talk about different ways to use your too tall plants. Now, what I mean by too tall is that they're 2 blocks tall, like so. You're going to want to pick probably 2, maybe 3 at the most, and stick with those. And try to pick, in general, with flowers, try to pick colors that are going to complement your grass color and your tree leaf color as well. Now for me, I'm going to use the lilac and the peony. So there are a couple of different ways that you can use these. First of all, you can use them just like normal. I prefer to have the taller flowers growing in the background here. So let me look around, just kind of in the background where they're sort of hidden away a little bit. Now you can use them just like that, where they are too tall, or you can do something else. You can go, for example, let's see, let me find a good spot to do this. We had the too tall flower there. Let's maybe go over here somewhere. And what we're going to do is we're going to dig down a block. Let's see, that needs to be dirt in order for this to work. So let me grab a little bit of dirt and plant that here. And then we're going to plant this down a block. Whoops, that's the same one I used before. There we go, there's the peony. So now you get a different effect as opposed to something like this, for example. So you can use those either way. So just try dotting these about your landscape a bit, and that way you get, once you add your regular flowers in, you're going to get some height variance, as well as the too tall flowers are just really pretty to look at. As a quick side note, ferns are also a good choice for your too tall flowers. They're not I wouldn't call them flowers so much, and they do blend in a little bit more, but the tall ferns are a really neat block in general, a really neat flower choice. So to get those, you just have to find a regular fern or plant one and then bone meal it up. And by doing that here and there, you're going to get more of the green color, but you get a little more variety into your environment. Another thing you can consider using is sugarcane. Normally you see sugarcane next to bodies of water, but you can disguise where the water is to add sugarcane into your environment in places that you wouldn't normally see it. Let's try adding sugarcane right here and see what we end up with here. So we're going to put our water source back here, and then let's see, I need to get some dirt so I can cover that back up. There we go. And then we're just going to plant our sugarcane here. Whoops. There we go. Now I could just let this grow, but we're going to go ahead and grow these up just to see how they look. So if I stand back, we can do something like this, which is pretty good. I think for me, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this jack-o'-lantern. Let's see, we'll break that out. There's our water source, and we're going to go ahead and plant another one of these here. Oh, let me stand back a little bit. And I kind of like that shape right there too. Now with sugarcane, the cool thing is you can grow them as tall as you want. So if you want to go more than 3 high, you certainly can. And you can also limit the growth of the sugarcane as well. So I think I might even like that a little bit better. So what I'll end up doing here is I'll end up getting some string. I don't have any on my inventory right now, but you can use string, place it on top of the sugarcane, and it will prevent the sugarcane from growing up to be 3 tall. So if you want a 1 tall sugarcane or a 2 tall sugarcane, use some string on top to limit the growth. If you want a 4 or a 10 tall sugarcane, go for it. Of course, there are your normal 1 tall flowers as well, and there really aren't any good tricks to this, but again, you want to try to find colors that are going to complement your grass color and your leaf color and add a little bit of contrast, but at the same time something that's going to fit into what you're doing overall. It's really just a matter of personal taste. So I'm going to go around here. I've got a few different flower types, and there are many different flower types, so you just pick ones that you like. I don't have all of the ones that I like, but I do like the allium, and I think that that is going to complement the peonies, and so I'm going to dot a couple of those around here and there, and let's see, maybe here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So I'm just going to dot a couple of these around my landscape, and maybe take away some of the yellow flowers. The yellow's okay, but they come in with the bone meal, and there tend to be too many of them, so be careful of that. And yeah, so I'm just going to go through and add some of these. Pay special attention to what's in the background of your environment, and not just on the main pathway, but stuff that is a little bit out of sight as well. So that way, as you're looking around, there's stuff to see everywhere. Now, if all you've done is what we've done so far in the video, you're going to have a really nice looking landscape. This isn't bad. There are a couple of things. I think I might get rid of this flower here, or maybe move it back a bit, but you just tweak it a little bit, and this will give you a really nice landscape all by itself. But there are a few extra tips and tricks I have for you that'll really make your landscape stand out. But unfortunately, we are out of time for this episode, so all the other tips are going to have to wait until next time. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Feel free to use some of it or all of it. Change it up however you like. Just have fun and let your inspiration flow, guys. And until next time, may you be happy, may you be well, and take care. I'll see you later.